Hey everybody, on the road again as usual, so I figured I'd make a quick video. I waited till I was closer to home. I had an incident this morning where I went to hop in the vehicle that I was supposed to be working on, and it had a flat tire, so I had to so this morning's work is not happening because that tire needs to be replaced before it can be driven. Or not replaced, but repaired. So that's this morning. I had three things that I kind of wanted to just touch on a little bit this morning. First, there's no election. Yesterday I talked about how there was supposed to be a committee for to deal with, to examine corruption in the government, and the Liberals said they had a standoff. Basically, they said, "Look, if you want to have an election over this, then we'll have an election." And the Conservatives and the Bloc Québécois were totally on board. They were willing to have an election. So it came down to whether or not the NDP decided to support the government, not necessarily support the government, but essentially whether or not they wanted to call for a vote of non-confidence over this. And they just weren't willing. They didn't want to, which I can understand. I do not want to be in an election season in Canada right now. So in part, good on them, but let's keep our eyes on the fucking Liberal government right now, because they've been pulling some shady shit. And I mean, I'm no conservative at all by any stretch, so, and I despise conspiracy theories, but corruption is corruption. And the Liberals have proven that they're more than willing to make backroom deals with people they're friends with, and I mean, that's not okay. You got to be held accountable when you do shit like that. Okay. So that's the big news in Canadian politics right now. I see that there's a CBC Front Burner podcast in my playlist this morning, where they're going to talk about the upcoming BC elections, or whether or not they've already happened. I don't keep that close a track of what happens to British Columbia. I apologize to my BC friends. I have one podcast plus CBC that I listen to that might sometimes talk about BC, and but if they don't say anything, then I don't know, and I don't always pay that close attention. But of course, Twitter all day yesterday, and even some of Facebook, was blowing up over Rudy Giuliani, because he's a big old perv and a creep, and he thought he was going to get some from this young blonde journalist who apparently wanted to interview him, but it was all part of a prank by Sacha Baron Cohen. And it would appear that the character this journalist was playing, this young woman was playing, was supposedly 15. But we, as people outside of the immediate sphere of that situation, don't know necessarily that Giuliani knew that she was supposedly 15. The woman who played the journalist is 24. So he's not a perv in the pedophile sense. But he is still like a fucking creep who assumed that he was going to get some from this youngish journalist Like, his first instinct is he's a powerful man and she's a journalist, so he needs to be ready for some kind of sexual situation to happen. And I mean, that's still pretty fucking creepy and pretty pervy. Like, he's still kind of a shitty dude. Big surprise. She doesn't have to be underage. We don't have to apply the label of pedophile to him to say that he is shit. He's shit. Something that I thought was hilarious is the very fast response by right-wing grifters to call this revenge porn. I'm sorry, dudes, it's not revenge porn. None of his naked body was shown in the pictures or the videos. It's not revenge porn. The fact that he's proven to be a creep and a perv doesn't make it revenge porn. The intent and like the situation itself actually matters. The content of the images matters when we're discussing revenge porn. Nobody's sharing a picture of Rudy Giuliani's dick, right? We're all seeing the image of him with his hands down his pants, laying back on a bed in front of a young woman. And it's damning, it's not cool, it is not revenge porn, and it is not indicative of pedophilia. But the thing about the revenge porn thing is that they had that. They've been preparing this. It was so fast. There's no way that they didn't have this on their playbook, right? In the right-wing playbook of grifts and excuses for bad behavior and ways to distract, dishonest tactics. This was right there. They had it. They saw this picture. They flipped open their fucking stupid book of they looked on their phone on their list of what bullshit to say, and it was right there. Call it revenge porn. Because they knew at some point like that this was going to happen. They knew that some right-wing figure would get caught with his hand down his pants in front of some young woman. It was just inevitable. They're all fucking creeps and pervs. Like, of course it was gonna fucking happen. So they knew this. And they had this prepared. It was so fast. I couldn't believe, like 2 minutes after I saw the initial story and pictures. I mean, I might have been late seeing it, obviously, because I don't pay that close attention to Twitter usually. But it was like right after I saw that, I saw the grifters and their excuse of, hey, why are you sharing this? It's revenge porn. You can't, this is illegal. You can't, you're sharing illegal content. And fuck you guys. Like, fuck you, Jack Posobiec. Fuck you, what the fuck is that other dude's name? Pizzagator. Fuck all of these guys. Like, come the fuck on. Weak fucking brains. Like, just, they're so fucking dumb. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious and stupid, and I hate that we live in a world where these people fucking have any influence on others at all. Like, at this point, any fucking intellectual, anybody with a brain in their head would stop taking them seriously. Okay, which brings me to the entire main point of what I was going to talk about. Because, okay, and I know that on Facebook I posted a post the other day saying that, like, I'm done listening to people on the left and liberals argue about whether or not you should vote for Biden or not. Like, at what point do you just fucking stop bickering? Like, come the fuck on. You're not convincing anybody one way or the other. But then ContraPoints came out with her video, and frankly, it was a straw cat caricature of the anti-voting left. It painted us all, and I'm not an anti-voting person. Like, I'm actually like the person who says, I think that voting for Biden reduces the amount of harm in the world. It is the lesser of the two evils. And if it can help anyone other than me, anyone, I don't give a shit who it helps. If it helps anyone, then that's the step I will take I will do that. I'm a Canadian, so I can't, but I would if I was in the United States. But the caricature, the straw man arguments against not voting are pretty fucking weak. Like they aren't addressing the actual lived experiences and situations that people face in their day-to-day lives. Like, I hear more nuance on this topic from something like some centrist newspaper like the New York Times, or their election show, whatever that, the race or whatever it's called, I can't even remember. I hear more nuance on that show on this topic than I do from my friends who are liberals. And the nuance is that there is a segment, millions of people in the United States whose lived day-to-day experiences will not change one way or the other, no matter who's in charge. I know that doesn't sound right to a lot of people, but if you live in poverty, if you live in perpetual poverty, and you're working your ass off and you work for some shitty boss, or you can't find a job, or you live in a low-income area where there are no jobs, you don't have the money to move to a different area, you don't have the education or skill set to get a different job than you normally would get, which is, for many of us, it's entry-level positions. They don't give a shit who the president is. Like, it really doesn't make any difference. Besides what they see on the news, and they don't often watch the news. Like, so many people don't watch the news because it doesn't show them anything from their life. Especially, like, the political commentary. Like, I find politics interesting, but not everybody does. It can be boring as shit for people. And they literally just have nothing that's going to change in their lives, no matter who the president is. And I think that people just forget that those people exist. Usually those people that are in that position, like, I've heard many Black Americans say, like, nothing's changed for them in the way that the police treated them between Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Nothing's changed for them in this situation or that situation in their day-to-day life, at work or at, when they're trying to go to the doctor. Like, even under Obamacare, many people still could not afford healthcare. I mean, more could. So I don't want to downplay that improvement of a situation, but there were many people who still could not. And it's just the state of the way it is. And I mean, to tell those people that they are too privileged or they're just dumb, making the dumb choice by not voting or not giving a shit who the president is, I don't think that's the right move. I think, frankly, that's condescending and more than a little rude. And unkind. Do you think that an addict who in his day-to-day life is just struggling to get enough money to feed that addiction, do you think that person cares who the president is? Like, yeah, you can say, but say Joe Biden he's going to have safe injection sites all over the country. I don't know that that's even part of the plan, but imagine if it was. If the plan was that Joe Biden would have safe injection sites all over the country, that would be great. But you have to get that message out to those people who are addicted. And even if you do, those people who are addicted, they're not going to feel necessarily safe at those injection sites. We don't know the situation with policing. We don't know this. Like, it's frustrating to me to see people who are usually kind, empathetic, thoughtful people dismissing the lived experiences of millions of people based on their own political pejorative. You can say that I think everybody should vote Joe Biden, and I think that. But I cannot say that there's anything wrong with you if you are working 3 jobs to make ends meet and you don't care who the president is because you're worried about your power bill. I can't say that. And yes, it's possible that a Joe Biden presidency or voting for a Democrat in your area or your state for Senate will have a vast improvement on the minimum wages or like, I don't know who controls what down there. It's all fucked up. But my point, you see what my point is, right? Like, the political system is irrelevant to a giant segment of the population. This is what I mean when I say empathetic people missing the point. Like, yeah, you're empathetic to certain situations, but you're missing the fact that, like, for many people, their lives just aren't changed. On paper, both parties are not the same. Their platforms are different. One party will move the progressometer slightly farther towards the progressive world we want to live in. And even if they don't, they will stop the slide into regression that is happening. And those are all good points and very important and would entice myself to vote. But they do not matter in the life of somebody who is just trying to survive. They just don't. And, I mean, I haven't even talked about foreign policy. The foreign policy of every fucking American president has been war, invasion, sticking their nose in where they don't belong, colonialism and imperialism. Like, you think that somebody from Africa or South America, like Latin America, you think that those people, besides immigrants coming to, who are being detained, do you think that these people who have seen the American foreign policy damage their own country or imperial foreign policy? Because for many people, America is simply the representation of colonial systems. Like, because Britain, France, Belgium, all these countries they have their noses in other countries that they deem that they seem to think they can control. Generally non-white countries are being imposed upon by white countries or imperialist countries. And America just happens to be the biggest imperialist country. So they see that foreign policy. They're an immigrant. They say they marry somebody who is a naturalized citizen or has the right to vote. Do you think that those people are thinking of this election the same way as you are? A person who's born in America has seen the foreign policy from the wrong side of history? What about indigenous Americans who have faced oppression and discrimination from every political party in America and every president. Like, I'm sorry, there's just more to it. You stop fucking beating people up. And yes, okay, all those things aside, I would still vote for Biden over over Trump a million times in a row if I had to, if I could. But it just doesn't make any sense to tell people that what is right for them. You can tell them what you want them to do. But unless you're seeing things from their perspective, if you start telling them that there's something wrong with them for not voting the way you want them to vote, then I'm afraid it's not going to work. Now, this is strictly a conversation between leftists and liberals right now, because fuck the right. Fuck those people who vote for Trump. Anybody who votes for Trump is a write-off as far as I'm concerned. You've seen what's been going on, unless you're so fucking uninformed. And like I say, this is the choice between not voting and voting for Biden. This is not the choice, or voting for a third party. This is not the people who have I'm not directing this absolution, this empathy towards the people that vote for Trump. Because regardless of your situation, I feel like if you vote for Trump, then you know enough to know better. Okay, seriously, I thought this was going to be a short video. But, you get on a fucking tear, you get on a rant, and it's hard to stop ranting about something so fucking important. And empathy is the one thing that is going to actually, I see hope and progress out of. But whatever, I guess. I hope that, I hope you like this video. I hope you share it if you do. Make sure to hit the like button. Like, come on, guys. If you've spent the time to go to the video and look at my silly face, the least you could do is hit the like button. Like, come on. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well today. And have a good one. Talk to you later.